Our guest this episode is Emanuel Rose, a seasoned author and speaker with deep expertise in marketing, business strategy, and authentic storytelling. He's written standout titles like Authenticity Marketing to Generation Z and Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, as well as inspiring nature-based children's books. With a gift for making complex ideas simple and actionable, he brings practical insights that resonate with both business leaders and young readers alike. Here to talk about authenticity, marketing impact, and inspiring the next generation, please welcome to the podcast, Emanuel Rose. Welcome, Emanuel. Welcome to the Engaging Personalities Podcast. I'm Anders Belanger, founder and CEO of Engagify, where we're on a mission to rehumanize business through engagement. We believe that we can all be more successful if we can command attention and deepen connection. So stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest on a future episode. So let's get ready to engage.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to have a conversation with you, Anders.
Yeah, so good. I know like the way that we pick our guests, because we don't accept everybody. Obviously, we want there to be a fit. But I saw this authenticity and AI, and I'm like, yeah, I want to talk because we've been talking about this on the podcast already, just because, I'm trying to wrap my head around where we going, and all of this and how, these authentic, we talk about AI being authentic interactions, right? Like we don't want to miss out on that part, right? And the further we go down that road, the more that's going to be special. But I just really want to dig into, let's just start there because I'm fired up about that. What is your take on this authentic interaction? Authenticity in the age of AI, artificial intelligence, because the two of them don't seem to go together in my mind.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting crossroads that we're at. And I was on a pod earlier this week, and I was told that authenticity is a buzzword now, and that nobody wants to talk about it. So I was like, oh, that hurts so much.
Dagger to the heart.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I think it really, for those of us with high emotional intelligence and a desire to know about other people, this is the best situation that we can have, because it's like these conversations that you and I are having right now is what really drives human relationship. And then to have this conversation, to be able to use this for our marketing campaigns, puts us head and shoulders above someone who's going to sit in front of chat and try to, think about their ICP and write some stuff through ChatGPT, right?
Yeah. I mean, and again, that the head and shoulders thing you're just talking about. Yeah, I was thinking about this where, and this is kind of not the opposite, but like when everything's so perfect, AI perfect, little mistakes. That's going to be what authenticity is to people in some ways. It's just being a little imperfect and just, make people can stand out and be themselves. And I think that'll be more special. And I think there's just something strange. Like I'm in a spot where I send those, those, like, there's a whole bunch of video email, programs where you can send someone an email, and I'm writing someone's name and I'm talking, and it is made just for them. And we're at the point now where I'm like, they probably think this is AI, and I'm probably wasting my time because they're not going to click on it, because of HeyGen and all of these digital avatar kind of things. Is there going to be a turning point? Is there going to be a place where this reaches a head, or I don't know, where are we headed that way in terms of our ability to either adopt it and accept it or stop putting up with it? I don't know, as a consumer.
Yeah. Well, there's two things there, right? One, there's a generational thing, and then one is if it's transactional or not, 100% transactional. So I think for you and me, I'm Gen X. There's certain things that I can't stomach that a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha kid can, right? So I have certain demands, and the boomers obviously have got way different demands than millennials have. So there's going to be a little bit of a twist, I think, generationally, but then also whether it's transactional or not. If I'm just going to go, I need to order my burrito from the taco shop down the street, I can use AI for that. I can get an AI response. I don't care. if I'm looking at deploying, servers for for the new software I just wrote, and I have a lot of questions, then I want to talk to you, who's an expert at it, or I have a trade show coming up, and I want to know how to maximize my relationships with all the people I meet. Like, I want to talk to you. I don't want to have an AI hey gen video talking to me.
Right. It's kind of like that, like you said, the transactional, it's easy. And it's like when things are really at stake, when we raise the stakes, that's where it's like, okay, don't mess with the talking to the computer. And I mean, it's the same with customer service in a sense too, right?
Yeah.
You will go through an auto attendant and some, or a, AI chat or something if it's just like, I need something. But if it's a
Right.
big issue, you're like, get me a human, please,
If I'm canceling my health club membership, I want to know from a person that I'm not going to get charged next month, right?
Right, right.
If I need to
Yeah,
know the hours of operation, I'm happy for it to be a chatbot.
right, right. Well, and then there's that whole like hallucination side of things where AI, we almost can't like trust the content, it's always
Yeah.
like, please verify it kind of thing. And
Yep.
then you've got, AI like Grog going off doing hate speech. There is a lot of risk around that too. And I've heard, of some of these bigger companies that like they had, downsized their sales staff thinking AI was going to be the savior, and they're having to rehire them
Yeah.
back. Um,
Right.
what do you see as far as that like sweet spot in marketing and sales revenue department kind of thing for the use of AI, but done authentically, like you speak to?
Yeah, I think well the one of the secrets is that you're going to create your custom GPTs or your guiding documents for whatever output you have in the marketing department. That's the first thing. So create the soul of your marketing department. And then use it in smart places, like for instance, in the podcast editing, I use a tool called Fluent Frame, and it takes the MP4 and it creates the YouTube description and the shorts and the mid length clips, and then it creates the email marketing and the social media posts, and it drafts all that stuff for me. And so I can then go in and edit that. And what used to take 2.5 hours is taking 15 to 20 minutes and pushing it on to the next stop in the process. So I think finding those types of tools and making sure that you structure them correctly so that you're feeding as much information as you can into the tool that you're using, the LM that you're using, then you're going to get good output. And it's still on brand, it's still on task because you've set that up in advance.
Yeah. So really, what I'm hearing from you there is it's like the time savings of, disseminating that content, but the content is still coming from a human,
Yeah.
giving it that soul, that even that you were talking about making sure that ChatGPT understands the soul of your marketing, but that it is in alignment with that. Is that kind of your philosophy
Yeah,
then?
it's got to be just the same way we would train a new staff person and explain the philosophy of the company and how you invite people out to lunch or how you sign off on your emails or whatever those things are. Um, the human in the loop is going to continue to be essential, and I think we even have to look and say, well, what are some things that AI could do, but I'm going to keep doing them, right?
Mm. Mm.
That we'll have those decisions to make, and sometimes anything that's human facing, human touch of a prospect or a client, I think that is kind of where I draw the line. I'm not going to have my avatar do this interview, even though probably could do an interview, and it could be pretty close to me.
We had a guest earlier who is big into digital avatars, and he sent me right afterwards a thank you message from his digital avatar, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, all right, like yeah, there's there is that balance, or draw, like you said, drawing the line of like, yes, it can save time, but just because we can, should we, right? Like,
right,
and that's I'm sure some companies are going to land on different sides of that line, right? And that's
for
going
sure.
to, maybe separate. That might be a deciding factor for a consumer, depending on how they are approached. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because how we feel about a company, as logical as we like to think we are, right? We
Yeah.
are emotional animals, and that does influence our decision making, right? So, um, speaking of balance, Manuel, how do you reconcile or balance, strategicness, if you will, strategy, with authenticity, and is that also a kind of a balancing act that companies have to figure out for themselves?
Well, I think, yeah, you've got to look at the strategies that you have, and then how you're supporting those with tactics. And again, back to this idea of what your ICP is and whether or not it's important. So, I mean, this from if somebody's research assistant is coming on Engagify and starting a conversation, that you're going to have a much different interaction with them than you are if it's the CEO or the CMO, right? And so we always just we gotta filter it down every time and say, well, who is the ICP that I'm talking to, and what are their demands? And we know that the Gen Zs don't like email, so then we got to make sure that we're sending them messages in ways that they can receive it and b get their job done. So the human to human part of it is always got to be focused on what the other person wants and needs. And I think that's the biggest gap that I see in the marketplace right now, is that, like always, there's the emotional intelligence from salespeople can always be emboldened a little bit more.
It makes me think of who wrote the Platinum Rule way back when.
I don't know that one.
I'll think of his name. I'll think of his name.
Okay.
But it'll be in 3 questions from now. But it's okay.
That's fine.
But is on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, it's not the golden rule was how do we want people to treat us, but the platinum
Right.
rule is how do they want to be treated, right? And looking at the generational differences, right? It's almost kind of like the message might be the same, but the medium is different, right? Is that kind of what you're seeing as far as like, yeah, they like their DMs and they like their, younger generations, right? How do you see marketing evolving as the, Gen Xers get older and the millennials, Gen Zs come up into that kind of fatter part of the market, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you see us doing differently, collectively, to market to those generations?
Well, I mean, we know that the Z's is the first truly digital generation that really would prefer to chat in some area than even get on a phone or read an email. So we really have to have as much information via chat as possible. That's the first thing. They tend to be a little bit more transactional, just no matter what the purchase is. But they really want to connect with the leader of the brand. So the fact that you as the CEO of Engagify are doing the podcast, that's a really critical activity for the longevity of your brand. They want to see the Elon Musk and the Richard Bransons and Kylie Jenner. They want to have that kind of feeling about about the people they do business with. So the podcast is the most critical thing that a company could do. And anybody who's listening that doesn't have a podcast, cancel the rest of the day, email Anders, ask him what he thinks you should do to get started, and do it today.
Well, that's, I mean, very affirming for me because, well, obviously we're in a podcast right now, but it's kind of like, you throw out stuff out there. When I say throw out, I mean, you're creating content and you're bringing people together that maybe think similar ways and discuss stuff. There are a lot of podcasts out there, like, and I think, how do we cut through that digital noise though? Because I mean, there's a lot of everything out there right now.
Yeah.
And is authenticity one of those ways of cutting through, or what's your take on that, Emmanuel?
I think it's 100% is that that there's only one Joe Rogan. Nobody's going to be the next Joe Rogan. There's no such thing. So the way that I approach it is I say, hey, let's prospect by interview. Let's introduce ourselves to people who are interesting in our marketplace, and let's ask them questions and see if they have the pain point. It's just like a sales conversation. And then that's going to help educate the rest of the people in our little pool of prospects. And if that's the only thing that happened, was that my staff, my top 100 prospects, and my 3 AAA prospects listen to my podcast, then I'm going to knock it out of the park, and I don't have to have 1,000 downloads up from Apple.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like it's not about the commercial success of the podcast as it is endearing yourself to your ideal customers, right? That
Yeah,
are so niche down that they go, "Oh, this is speaking to me." If you are creating a podcast, for your customer base, that they find valuable. So,
and then, as you know, you have all the content that comes out of that, right? I mean, your marketing department loves you because they get CEO approved content every episode, and so they can
yeah,
just run with it, and they don't
and
have to get any.
repurpose the heck out of it. Like
Yeah,
I mean, and that's those AI tools that help you do that, finding those sound bites, which this one right now, as I say it, might become one, which would be really meta if it does.
yeah,
But that idea that, yeah, where you're able to crank that out, and there are clips that my assistant Ross finds that I don't even remember saying them.
sure,
Right.
yeah.
Like it's us just having a conversation and being caught up in the moment. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is content, So it's kind of strange. But again, what's more authentic than that? You
That's
just
it, 100%. Yeah,
pressing your, it's not a reading a teleprompter, trying to make some contrived piece of marketing, content. So
yeah,
yeah, that's all fascinating. I want to shift gears just a little bit, Emmanuel. Maybe we'll come back to this, but I want to talk a little bit about your children's books, and because you're an author on 2 very different fronts in a sense. You talk a little bit more about, I think, nature with your
yep.
children's books, and then marketing and authenticity. And is there a connection between the two, or is it just kind of 2 separate passions that you have?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I started to write children's books for my grandchildren because I wanted to make sure I could influence them into important fundamentals of being human. And then as I was researching the book about marketing at Gen Z, I ran into all the psych research that was showing the detrimental mental health aspects to screen time and social media and cyberbullying and all those things. And so I made it a point to say, hey, this is one of my contributions to help neutralize this negativity, because the solution to all 50 mental health issues that Gen Z is facing is time in nature. It's
Mm,
time off the screens, even by themselves in nature. That's the best thing. A human being can go through all kinds of values clarification and self-efficacy exercises by themselves, but just being off the screens and outside actually doing stuff is really the antidote to the psych issues that are cropping up through all these generations, but primarily in the Z's because they've had the biggest dose of this type of radiation.
that's fascinating. I mean, we kind of know that getting back to nature is good for us, but as far as finding the research that really, confirms that belief. My family, we like to go camping,
Yeah,
in provincial parks here in Manitoba and everything, and it is nice when you don't have the, oh, it's spotty, I can't even get my get my
right,
phone right. You kind of just get to dig in, and I love seeing my son especially, like, wanting to chop wood, right, and make
right, yeah.
and stuff like that. It's just kind of like these tactile kind of things. Well, that's so neat. So there is kind of, I mean, there is a bit of connection, and you understand that generational piece to it, as well, that brings that together. um okay, let's talk future. We've done a little bit of future casting here, or
Yeah.
forecasting. What do you think is, what's it going to be like in 5 years from now? If we you look into your crystal ball, in terms of the marketing, AI, um, what are we doing differently that we're not doing today, do you think?
I really think in a short amount of time, we're going to be voice driven 100%, and that we won't, we won't need to have big laptop screens and all that stuff. Or it'll be able to just say, "Hey, Amazon, I need to refill my power bar order," and then all the magic happens in the back end. So that's the first thing, is that voice is really driving ahead so much faster than we realize. And I think we'll have kind of that minority report of triggered monitors wherever we go, and we're going to be getting um, focused ads based on what we want. If we're in the mall, or we're in a store, or we're at the casino, or wherever we're shopping. So all the geolocating and those types of triggering activities, and then pulling our profile up from the data that the internet knows about us, is going to happen very dynamically.
And that's that kind of, well, not uncanny valley, but it's that uneasiness about our privacy
Yeah,
versus, you know, marketing speaking directly to us, right? Like it's kind of, we all know about the things where you talk about something on your phone and all of a sudden you're seeing ads for it already.
right.
Like that's,
Yep.
and we kind of, it used to freak us out. And of course, our freak out meter is coming down,
Right.
because like I was just thinking about this, Manuel, as when people visit your site, like if anyone hops on engagify.ai, I get a notification that someone's on the site.
Yeah.
If I've ever sent you something and you clicked on a link, I know who you are, right? And
Right.
this whole kind of like, you could just chat with them like, "Hey, Manuel, how's it going?" Like, and freak them out kind of.
Yeah.
But we aren't as freaked out anymore about that kind of stuff. So those things that I find sometimes hard to imagine and go, really? You see how we've, gotten used to
Grown
things.
accustomed to it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, when you first said a minority report, I'm like, we're going to future predict crime? That's awesome. But that's not where you were going. That's not where you
Not
were going.
quite. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's working on that, though. There's no doubt.
Right. Right. So yeah, all that kind of voice piece that you talked about too is just that kind of, it's more on demand in a sense, right? We don't even have to use interfaces like keyboards to do it. We think it,
Right.
we ask for it, we get it, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the agentic AI side of things, where we've got things hooked up and connected, does a lot of that dirty work that we wouldn't have to do, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
and and uh and so yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how many things, like the connectivity of everything is going to be through the roof as far as making things work together, or interoperability, as they say.
Yeah. And then I think it'll be interesting to see where the biometrics, where all that where that falls,
Yeah.
and how willing people are going to be for the iris scans and the fingerprints. But that's really the next spot where we connect all that to the individual human, and then are able to deliver at that level.
Yeah.
And we have to just all decide how much we want to participate in that, and how fast culture moves. Right now, I would say that the gap between what is possible and what we're able to absorb and deploy into business and into organizations is the Grand Canyon right now. Like,
Hmm.
the technology is so far past what the organizations can absorb, that it's gonna take some time to catch up. But then once it does catch up, it's gonna move even faster than it is now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just at Customer Contact Week. Well, not just, back in June, and they were talking about using AI to take accents or change
Yep.
accents in real time on a phone call.
Yep.
And that's just wild, right? Like, you just think of how, you can take anyone from anywhere, as long as they're speaking the same language, and
Yep.
have people again sound like you do, so you like them more already.
They
And
don't
yeah,
even
you
have
can,
to speak the same language. That's the other thing
well,
that's happening.
that's true
Oh.
too. I guess that's probably, I mean, that is an extra step, but that's where it would go for sure, right?
There's
Just
an
that.
amazing company called Crisp that is doing all kinds of work around call centers
Yeah.
and the AI that way. Um, and then yeah, you don't have to. They could strip out the accents, no problem now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Wild. You also do some work on fundraising too. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm obviously a big nature advocate. I belong to a lot of different organizations that are raising money for wilderness restoration and purchasing. And I wanted to. I've been to so many fundraisers that were, let's say, not done professionally. That I wanted to add my marketing math into how to execute a good fundraiser and maximize the amount of dollars that can benefit some of these organizations that are smaller on the ground groups. And so I wrote a book about that, raise more, reach more, so that people could get some of the benefits of good, solid marketing and increase the dollars to acre.
Well, that's so important because so many, whether it's foundations or whatever, charities, they're run by volunteers, right?
Yeah,
And you're only going to be as good as the talent you attract as your volunteers. And so to give structure, to give guidance, and a level of professionalism, in a sense, right?
yeah,
Because we do the bar is rising all the time, or raising all the time, as far as what is, like, you think about Amazon and how, frictionless and how sweet and how there's no waiting time and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
We do demand more nowadays with everything being on demand, and so making sure that we deliver, even in a fundraising capacity, we want to make sure that come across the way that you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to have that structure of using kind of an account-based marketing concept where we say, hey, here's my top 50 contributors, and we're going to treat them a little bit different and stay in contact with them differently. And then we're going to have a list of prospective top 50 behind that. And then, how to milk the most amount of money from each event so that you're getting maximum value as the organization. Yeah.
That's cool. So now, when you work with, if you keynote, you're an author. Do you do some consulting? Do you help other? Let's talk about the types of organizations that you help, and how you do that.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, I still have we still have the agency, marketing agency, and helping support both business to business marketing and then also AI integration into larger small businesses and mid-sized businesses, helping them to get that time savings and then amazing EBITDA return that you can only get right now from implementing AI projects. So it's been fun to be able to, my podcast. I've done almost 300 episodes now, and I've met people and doing SaaS development and implementation and all kinds of amazing things. And I get to take all that and distill it down and get it into the individual businesses that I'm working with, and it's really satisfying to continue to educate myself just like this. I mean, we can learn so much in these conversations, and then being able to take that and built a 10-step framework for AI deployment and helping businesses get the value of the AI tools.
Awesome. I feel the exact same way, Emmanuel, too. Like I feel like I'm more educated and ahead of the curve just from the people that I bring on. So
For sure.
and great example right here. So to plug your podcast, what's your podcast name?
It is. I've got two. Actually, got three podcasts now. I've got one that's called "Marketing in the Age of AI," and so it doesn't. It's not just about AI and marketing, but it's about how we're doing everything. That's direct mail and things like that on there because that's still a tactic that works. And then I have a podcast called Nature Bound, and that is about all the various things I'm interested in around. I did a big series on turkey hunting, and I've done a bunch of fly fishing episodes, and talk to people about what they're doing with summer camps and those sorts of things. And then just started a new one called Behind the Podcast Mic, just talking about podcasting and how to do it and the value of podcasting.
That's awesome. It's like, I love how you just check all the boxes for yourself. Just like, like these are the things I like, and I'm going to have a podcast on all three of them.
Yeah.
It's so
Well,
cool.
and that's the beauty of the podcast is that, and
Yeah.
that's my rule. I don't have anybody on my podcast that I'm not interested in.
Well, it does certainly make it a lot easier to talk to people that way, right? You just like, just pick people that are going to be fun and interesting and just dive in, right? So
Absolutely.
that's so awesome. Hey, Emanuel, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way they get in touch?
They can look me up on any of the LLMs or on Google at Emanuel Rose. I'll be first on those, emmanuelrose.com or strategic e-marketing or LinkedIn. Those are the primaries.
That brings up another thing. Like I had Marcus Sheridan on the podcast not too long ago, who really talks about, using AI. AI will be the next Google, that kind of idea. And you just mentioned that, like, just look me up. AI knows who I am, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that, do you have any, is that something you're looking at? And are there tips for being an expert that AI recognizes? I'm going to guess you're going to say podcasting is one of them, but
I love it. Well, some people call it generative engine optimization or answer engine optimization. And I wrote a book that's on Amazon that talks about the fundamentals of it. What I love most about it is that you could just go in and you can say, what do you know about me or know about my brand into any of the engines? It will tell you, it'll give you an answer. And then you can say, how can I make sure that my customers and prospects can find me on this LLM? And then it lays out the plan for you.
That's my big takeaway. I just got my money's worth.
Oh, wait. Right, good.
Yeah. I love the prompts that are just kind of like so obvious when someone says them, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of like a genie. And if you can ask any question, then, or that whole, like, how can I make this question a better question? Like those kind of questions, which is, okay. Yeah. I'm going to spin out of, getting way too meta again, Emanuel. Hey,
no problem.
I had a great time. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your time, your expertise, and just kind of bringing all these things together and discussing podcasting too.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate it. Enjoyed meeting you, and hope we can stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, thanks so much. And thank you to all of our listeners as well for joining us once again here on Engaging Personalities. And until next time, you know what to do. Stay engaged. Thank you so much for listening to Engaging Personalities. If you believe this world needs more engagement and you're an industry leader or you have an interesting take on rehumanizing business, go to go.engagify.ai/podcast-guest to apply and come on the show. If you got something out of this interview, do you mind sharing it on your social media? Just grab a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show. Include the hashtag Engaging Personalities. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episode, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, engagify.ai, or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and stay engaged.